Welcome back, y'all. This is the Bluechip Breakdown, and I'm your host, Bull. Today, I'm going to be telling you why I love the matchup with Tennessee's offense versus Alabama's defense. Y'all do us a very big favor. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. All right, y'all, let's take a look at these stats real quick. Tennessee's offense versus Alabama's defense. Tennessee's total offense is ranked number 10. Alabama's total defense is ranked number 55. Tennessee's scoring offense is ranked number 9, and Alabama's scoring defense is ranked number 42. Tennessee's giving up 2.1 sacks per game, which is 85th in the country, and Alabama is getting 2.3 sacks per game, which is 37th in the country. Tennessee's passing offense is ranked 61st, and Alabama's pass defense is ranked 62nd. Tennessee's rush offense is ranked number 7th, and Alabama's rush defense is ranked 54th. Tennessee's third down conversion is ranked at number 44, and Alabama's third down is ranked at number 23. Tennessee's red zone conversions is ranked at number 42, and Alabama's is ranked at number 64. Tennessee's 65th in turnovers, and Alabama's defense is 12th. So as you're just kind of going through here, obviously, man, I think that the pass protection is going to be really big. Kind of looks like Tennessee maybe could run the ball on Alabama. All this stuff, again, this is just on paper. We'll tell you how we really feel about this from watching the film here in just a minute. But, there's several things here. This is a lot more evenly matched just on paper, okay, than what we've seen over the past few weeks. So it is a big-time rivalry game, and Tennessee's going to have to come out with a good game plan to find success versus Alabama defense. Now let's take a look at the key players for Alabama on defense. Up at the top, we have Jahad Campbell. He's a linebacker listed at 6'3", 244 pounds. He is a junior, and he's number 11. So this season, he has 51 tackles, one and a half sacks, one interception, one pass breakup, and one forced fumble. He's a guy that, he could play kind of like at Mike. He could also play on the outside, rushing the passer some more. But, they'll put him in space. They'll let him kind of play coverage. Does a really good job, I think, of filling. Obviously, he has great speed. But the one thing that I've noticed is constant with all of Alabama's players on defense is they do a great job of just kind of shrugging off blocks. They take a little step to the side and kind of like drop that shoulder. And I mean, it's so effortless, but it is very, very effective. So this is a guy that obviously Tennessee is going to have to ID where he's at, especially because Alabama likes to run a whole lot of three-man fronts. And really, I mean, you're looking at your linebackers to make those plays for you. But as good as he is, as good as his ceiling is, I don't think that he's necessarily operating as well as he could. But he's a guy that can play in pass coverage too. They use him as a spy. They'll kind of drop him every now and then. But for the most part, he's trying to look out and stop those runs. So the next player is going to be Deontay Lawson. He is another linebacker listed at 6'2", 239 pounds. He's a redshirt junior. He is number 0. This season, he has 50 tackles, 1 sack, 3 pass breakups, and 1 forced fumble. So I think he might be the better of these two linebackers. It kind of feels like Campbell gets a little bit more pub, but I mean, listen, 0 is a dude, okay? He's very twitchy. He's very fast. Same thing that we kind of talked about with Campbell. Does a great job of just, shrugging those blockers off. So he's a guy that we're going to have to make sure that we just take our time and just get a face on him. You know what I'm saying? Just put a body on him whenever we're trying to run that football. But, he's going to be good in pass coverage, things like that. He can play inside, outside. He can rush that passer. All of those good things, man. Just a very, very big and athletic linebacker core for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And the next player is going to be Keon Saab. He's a safety. He's listed at 6'1", 206 pounds. He is a redshirt sophomore. He's going to be number 3. He has 37 tackles, 3 pass breakups, and 2 interceptions. So he does a great job playing at safety, whether he's kind of, playing more like free safety or if he comes down, more into the box, he can cover well. I think one-on-one coverage, but really, I think he's better more in that off coverage where he can come up because he will jump those routes. But I've also seen him have some issues with double moves, and really everybody in their secondary. We'll talk about that more, but all those guys have an issue with, double moves. But, he's a guy that, I've seen him do a beautiful job in run support. He's a pretty sound tackler, does a great job of kind of shrugging off blocks. Same thing that we talked about with those backers. And the next player is going to be Malachi Moore. He's another safety listed at 6 feet tall, 200 pounds. He is a graduate, and he's number 13 on their roster. He has 36 tackles, 4 pass breakups, 1 forced fumble, and 1 fumble recovery. So he also looks good playing in coverage, but it's going to be almost like the exact same thing where I kind of feel like those double moves are a problem for him. He gets really handsy, and so does number 3. But, these are guys that are disciplined. He's played a whole lot of football. He understands what he's looking at. He's typically going to be in the correct spots in their zone, does a good job in man-to-man coverage. He comes up, he feels well. They like to put him inside of the box a lot and almost use him as kind of like a, fourth linebacker in their scheme. So I think he's very versatile and he can do a whole lot of things. The last player is going to be Q Robinson, and he is another linebacker, but he's really more of an edge rush linebacker. He's listed at 6'5", 241 pounds. He is a redshirt senior. He's number 34. This season, he has 15 tackles and 4 sacks. He actually leads the team in sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 1 fumble recovery. So he's going to be their twitchiest pass rush guy. He looks really good. Most of their pass rush stuff that we'll talk about here in just a minute is going to be off of bull rushes. But this is a guy that, most of the time he's going to line up on the outside, like we just said, and try to rush that pass. But I've seen him line up on the inside as well. He's just a very versatile player. And, he looks good out in space. He plays with good speed. He plays with good leverage. His fundamentals, his technique, all of that stuff is really, really solid. So this is a guy that Tennessee has to block whether we're running or if we're passing, because I think that he could definitely make plays in any game that he gets those opportunities in. All right, y'all, let's take a look at Alabama's pass rushers with Pro Football Focus, and we're going to be focusing on this pressure area. Up at the top, we have LT Overton. He's going to be number 22, and he's had 147 pass rush opportunities. He has 20 hurries, 4 hits, and 1 sack, so he's winning at about 18.7%. And the next player right here, Latham, number 20, he's had 139 pass rush opportunities with 1 sack, 2 hits, 5 hurries. He's winning at 7.3%. Tim Keenan III, it's going to be number 96, has had 118 pass rush opportunities, and he has 2 sacks, 5 hurries, and he's winning at 10.7%. Tim Smith, number 50, he's had 107 pass rush opportunities with 1 sack, 3 hits, and he's winning at about 5.9%. James Smith looks like he's doing a pretty solid job. Let's come on down here, man. Q Robinson, he's winning at 23%. So you can tell he's very, very effective. Right here, number 4, he's going to be another one of their edge guys. He's winning at he's winning at 15.2%. Let's see, who are some other winners right here? This guy right here, number 19, he's actually pretty good too. He definitely flashed when I was watching film, winning at 10.4%. Campbell, whenever he does blitz, does a really nice job, winning at 13.6%. So y'all can just kind of see what's going on right here. Zero, man, he's winning at 20.6%. I think that's the second highest right there behind Q Robinson. So several players, some of these guys down here haven't had nearly as many opportunities, but they're winning at some pretty high percentages. One thing that we do know about Alabama is that they're going to have some really good players on every single level. But let's talk a little bit more about what I'm seeing from Alabama's defense as a whole. All right, so let me tell y'all what I saw from watching film on Alabama's defense. First and foremost, they can be very multiple in their fronts, but it's typically going to be a 3-3-5 look. They'll blitz about 36% of the time. They love to run man-to-man coverage. They'll also run cover 3, cover 4. I've seen them drop 8 a lot. But let's talk about their players. Let's talk about their personnel, starting off up front with their down linemen. So it's going to be a smaller group than Tennessee's seen over the past few weeks. They only have 3 guys listed over 300 pounds, whereas Florida had like 8 of them. So I think that we can find some success in getting some movement up front in our run game. But those guys are pretty twitchy as well, just as pass rushers, things like that. We've got to be good with our fundamentals and not, falling forward. As long as Tennessee's offensive lineman blocks with some balance, then we will be able to block Alabama's front. Now, let's talk some about their edge rushers. Those guys are prototype NFL size, and, they're big, they're strong, they're fast, but I think that we can block those guys. I think that we can run on those guys. They've struggled with, read options, RPOs, misdirection stuff, but let's talk about the entire front, just as pass rushers. They've got, I think, 14 or so sacks on the season. Most of those came from them just bringing 4, and they love to run stunts. All those guys, man, mostly you'll see a lot of bull rushing, not a whole lot of twitchy spin moves and things like that. I've seen some of it, but it's not as much as you might think. So I think that we can kind of hold up pretty well versus that. Now, I said that kind of coming into the Arkansas game. I said, man, look, our offensive line should do a lot better in keeping Nico upright because we do better versus the bull rushes over the, speed rushes. But I don't know, because they didn't do well in that game versus Arkansas, but I think that we'll have something drawn up. I don't have an absolute, I'm not having nightmares about Alabama's front on, defense. Now let's talk about the inside linebackers. Those guys are probably going to have the best combination of size to athleticism that we'll see all season, because it might be the best in the entire country. So we can still run on those guys though, because they play a lot more laid back. They're almost overly patient, like patient to a fault. And I think that Tennessee can definitely take advantage of that by running the football right at Alabama. Also, again, all of their guys really struggle with the misdirection stuff, with the read option stuff. South Florida and Vanderbilt, their quarterbacks ran a lot versus Alabama, and they had a lot of success in doing that. So this is a game, again, man, those linebackers, they're big, they're fast. I don't know that you want to run Nico too much, but yeah, use his legs just to keep him honest, just to have that threat there. And I would say, Nico, carry out your fakes every single time. One thing that I never got with the quarterbacks is if you're going to, do like a read option or something, if you're carrying out a fake, why not carry that all the way out? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you looking back at the running back? You're not going to help him by doing that. So we need for you to kind of carry it out some more. That's just my thoughts. Right? I would love to see us do some more of that. But, outside of that, let's talk about Alabama's secondary. So first and foremost, there's a lot of youth back there, but they've got some talent. Like we said, a whole lot of man-to-man coverage. I think that Tennessee can beat them in man-to-man coverage. Their coverage isn't absolutely great. The double moves get them, even if you give them like a little, step to the outside, come back to the inside, or step to the inside, come back to the outside, it can be there. Something else just to go a little bit further is that watching South Florida versus Alabama, and South Florida runs the exact same offensive scheme as Tennessee does, spreads the whole field out. You could tell what Alabama's coverage was. So that's going to be big. You could also tell where the pressures were coming from and all that type of stuff. That'll be big for Nico because I think that he struggled with his pre-snap reads. Now, I hope that they are teaching him that. I hope that he's learning that and getting better at that every single week. It'll also be good for everyone that's blocking, whether it's the O-line or it's the running backs or it's the tight ends. It'll be good for us just to be able to ID where the pressure's coming from, where the holes are going to be, and, if we need to run hot routes, things like that, be able to sit it down. I think that Nico definitely needs to try to hit those hot routes a little bit more and not try to force the football down the field. If it's not there, dump it off. Just do that. If he can do that, man, we'll have a ton of success on offense. Just keep on dumping it off. You know what I'm saying? Just take what's there. So I hope that everyone will do that, and I hope that everyone sees that. But obviously, our offensive scheme, if Alabama comes out and plays us the same way that they played up against South Florida, we will be able to tell what they're in. So that'll be huge. Now, they could come out and do more of what Arkansas and Oklahoma did. That happens. It's a whole different ballgame. But at this point, Tennessee's offensive coordinators and just offensive, staff in general should have figured out how to beat that type of stuff. So we'll see what Alabama does from a scheme perspective. But I would bet that we'll see a lot of what we saw versus South Florida because it seems like they like to keep things simple. So either way, I think that we should be fine there. Something else that Nico, I think, it's kind of struggled with versus the secondary. It's kind of staring things down too much. Now, typically that'll hurt you more in zone coverage than it will in man coverage. So I think that in this game, he can maybe get away with that a little bit more. I'm not saying that he, doesn't need to get better at it. He definitely does. He needs to get better at it for sure, because even in this game, we'll see some one safety high looks with man-to-man coverage, and Nico's going to have to try to look that safety off. He's going to have to try to look one way, knowing that he's going back the other way the whole time. That's something that I would love to see just kind of implemented a little bit more in Nico's game. But I think that because Alabama likes to play a lot more man-to-man coverage, that Nico's going to be, it's going to be easier for Nico not to throw as many picks because he's staring stuff down in this game. So that's about where I'm at, man, with all three levels of this Alabama defense. So just to kind of recap, I'll tell you what my game plan would be if I was the head coach. I'd say, listen, y'all, we're going to run the football 50 plus times. We're going to lean on our best player on offense, D. Samp. Look, you're going to get about 30 carries today. Bishop, you need to be ready. Cam Selden, you need to be ready. Peyton Lewis, everybody, all of our backs, y'all need to be ready just in case y'all's number is called. We're going to get back to establishing that bully ball. We want to push Alabama around. John Campbell, Spraggs, y'all, we told y'all not to be blocking folks out of bounds and giving us penalties. Y'all got one time that y'all can do it in this game, okay? Pick and choose wisely. But we want for our guys up front to be physically dominant. I think that we can do that. What I have seen with Alabama versus teams that are running the football a lot on them, especially with success, is I wouldn't say that they're quitting, but they're getting very frustrated. And then people start to, try to do things that they ain't supposed to be doing. And that's when we can go, counter and all that type of stuff, and plays will be wide open. So I would start off with Tennessee's running game. I would give them a very heavy dose of some counter, of some, sweep plays, of some jet sweeps, of some read options. Yes, we need to use Nico's legs some, maybe not as much. You got to be very smart in how you do it, but I would give him a whole lot of different looks in our running game. But for the most part, I just run the football right at him because I don't think that Alabama will be able to stop it. Maybe slow it down some in spurts, but I don't think that they can stop it by any means. That should help. That should help with the confidence of this entire team, especially with the offensive line. Whenever we do need to pass the football, where they feel like, man, look, we've been pushing these guys around, pushing them around. Well, now I'm about to keep on kind of slinging them around some, because that's the mindset. That's the mentality that these guys need is, hey, I'm going to be that bully, not overthinking and overprocessing, which is what it kind of looks like whenever we get into our pass sets or maybe we're tired, whatever it is. Hopefully that will help us out. I would also run a whole lot more 11 personnel and not as much 12, because with that 11, we'll see consistently light boxes. And if they are, I mean, whenever I say light boxes, I should have said light personnel. We will see consistently light personnel. And if they go to a bigger personnel, then hey, we've got some major mismatches. So that's what I would stick to. And I would see if maybe Alabama would try to bring in an extra linebacker to stop Tennessee's running game. Now, outside of that, man, Nico maybe throws the ball about 20 times in this game if it's me coaching. And I say, look, dude, all you got to do is hold on to the ball. Just don't turn over. Just people will be wide open. Just hit them. If it's not there, then just, scramble or throw the football out of bounds. Okay, that's all we need for you to do. Just manage the game. If Nico plays this, it's more of a game manager and kind of like hits his shots because the shots will be there. I think the Tennessee will be able to score a lot of points. Let's just say if Tennessee ran the exact same plays this weekend that we did versus Florida, I think the Tennessee would score 35 points versus Alabama's defense. And if we can lean on our running game even more and just kind of like get that dominance going, be able to work off the play action RPO game, then I think the Tennessee could score even more. And we might need it in this game because I think that we, have to try to keep our defense off the field. It's going to be tough without Keenan Pili. I'm very concerned about our linebackers. I know we're not talking about our defense today. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. But I think that Tennessee can come into this game, dominate in that, running game with our offense, work off of play action, take our shots, and win in one-on-one coverage as soon as we get those opportunities. So make Nico more of a game manager, lean on your best players, lean on the best part of your offense. And I think that Tennessee, man, we should have a whole lot of success in this one. But those are my thoughts. Please let me know yours down in the comment section. And as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share with your friends, family, and other volunteer fans. We'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks. Peace.